Well, the computer says that it's 7 o'clock, so I think we should begin.
The clock on the wall here in the community center agrees with you. I have started the live stream on YouTube, and so I think we're ready to go.
Okay. So the first thing we need to do is look at the minutes from the last meeting. Any issues with the minutes from the last meeting?
No.
I hear none. Do we have a motion?
I'll
Move to
move.
approve. Oh, second. Either way.
We have motions and seconds. Those in favor? Aye. Those in favor, those approve of this.
Oh, aye.
Right, there you go.
All right. So let's move on with the rest of the discussion.
And I'm going to assume Richard Lewis was in favor also, and write that down as a 4-0 vote.
Yeah,
Oh, here
I
he
was
is.
on mute. I
Yeah.
was on mute.
Okay. 4-0.
So go ahead.
Okay, so this is, I've lost track, either the 5th or 6th time that we have discussed these from very initial conceptual, not fleshed out at all, to a first draft. We got side railed by I guess my not being quite sure that talking about this detailed stuff by Zoom would be successful, and maybe being naive back in March and April, thinking that we'd be all back together relatively quickly. But last month we didn't really spend a lot of time going through the amendments again. We went through a slideshow I had put together that provided an attempt to illustrate what various densities look like on the face of the earth, what different lot sizes look like. And I think that at the end of July, we were pretty close to being ready to, shall we say, go public with it, since we really haven't had any public discussion. I have made 2 changes from the last draft that you saw in February that I want to make sure that that you're aware of. You may recall at our discussions back in February, we spent quite a bit of time looking at diagrams about lot width and lot size and density and how all of that worked together. As a result of that discussion, even though there was not necessarily direction from the Planning Commission to do so, I have suggested that we reduce the minimum required lot width in each of the 3 residential zones by 20 feet. So in the low density zone, it would go from 80 to 60. In the medium density zone, from 70 to 50. And in the high density zone, if you had single family attached, then it would be 40 feet. The other change that I've made is the result of changes in state law. In 2017, when the Planning Commission was working on the standards for accessory dwelling units, you included in the standards a requirement that one of the units, the principal unit or the accessory unit, be owner occupied, and you included a requirement that there be 1 off-street parking space in addition to the 2 that are required for the principal unit. Last year, the legislature enacted a bunch of bills that were an attempt to deal with the housing situation in the state. And as part of what was House Bill 2001, the statutes have now been changed, and cities may not require owner occupancy and may not require additional off-street parking for accessory dwelling units. So I have proposed just deleting those paragraphs from the accessory dwelling unit section, and that's newly added into this package of amendments. So with that, I guess that's my summary of what you've got in front of you, because we've talked about it. Oh, Heidi has arrived. Now that I'm looking at my screen, let me let her in. There she is. And blessings. I leave it, I open it to you for discussion, questions, concerns, ideas of how to proceed from here. My staff report gives you what I see as my next tasks. Should you this evening say, yes, we're ready to go live with this. I think that I will create a page on the city's website, make the amendments available to download, provide a detailed explanation of the changes, and provide also a button to push to provide comments. I don't know whether I can set it up so they go to the whole planning commission, but if they just come to me, anytime an email comes in, I'll just forward it to the 5 of you. I think when I was writing this, I was thinking we should just hold a workshop session, on a public informational session on these as a planning commission meeting. Do it outside of the regular last Monday of the month. But at this point, my guess is the end of the September meeting probably won't have any applications on it. I have not heard from anybody interested in doing development work in months. It's been probably 6 weeks since we've had a pre-application meeting. We had a bunch of them in April and May, June. But I haven't heard back from anybody that they are interested in proceeding.
Bummer.
Yeah, yep. So either do that mid-September or at the September 28th meeting. I have already put on the tentative city council agenda their September 21 meeting to provide a briefing to them so that they have a good understanding of where we're going with this before you hold your public hearing and forward it to them for their public hearing. And then work on the idea that your public hearing to begin the amendment process would be your October meeting. We can't do it in September already because of the 35-day notice requirement. So we can't do it any earlier than the October meeting because the notice hasn't been sent out. So, questions, comments, concerns, issues on the draft, or have we beat this enough that you're ready to call it a dead horse?
I think so.
I think we're getting close. The cutting the 20 feet seems a little drastic to me. I don't know what, of course, a magic number would be there, but that seems like an awful lot to cut.
Okay. I had grabbed onto a thumb drive all of those density, lot size, lot width diagrams that I had back in February, and I plugged it into this laptop here at the community center and discovered that this laptop doesn't have software on it to read a PDF.
Oh.
Yeah. And so I can't open them.
Oh.
So that being the case, just tell us.
Yep.
Some of the lots in those images that you showed us last time, were they the sizes you're suggesting?
Some of them were even smaller. I do have that slideshow available. And so let me figure out how to get it going here. There we go. So not any of them here in Stayton,
No.
but if we go to let me scroll through here. Sorry about the flashing screen. Wildlife Meadows has what,
Right.
9 lots with only 40 feet of frontage as part of a master plan development. Here's the aerial view from last summer. And these are the homes on the 40-foot lots. I was driving through there this afternoon. All of the 40-foot lots, except for one, have been built on with 2-story homes, and there's one 1-story house on one of them. And these again are also, these are all of these homes in this shot are on those 40-foot lots.
What's your high density?
It's a low density zone, but Wildlife Meadows was approved as a master plan development, which means that we ignore the minimum lot size and lot width requirements and just regulate the number of homes in the subdivision. So the subdivision has a couple of duplex homes in it, which would not otherwise be allowed in the low density zone. And it has these 40-foot, roughly 4,000, 4,300 square foot lots. That when the developer was appearing before the Planning Commission, I think that was as far back as 2014 or 15. We're being labeled as townhouse lots, but they've been built with detached single-family homes instead of townhouses. Let's see. The Silverton subdivision has some lots with as little as 25 feet of frontage. Here, this pair of all 3 of these lots right here are only 25 feet wide. As are others, where's my pointer go? As are others here are 25 feet wide. And again, the street view of those, this house here is on one of those 25-foot wide lots. The ones next to it, how big are those lots? Those lots are 40, 36, 39 feet wide. So substantially tighter than what we'd be proposing here with going from 80 down to 60.
So does that significantly reduce the prices for lower cost housing or not?
I don't think that it necessarily reduces the prices. It will reduce the cost of street and utility construction, because if you only need to build 40 feet or 50 feet of street for 2 houses, one on each side, instead of having to build 80 feet of street for each house, then obviously your infrastructure development costs are substantially less per unit. But the price of the house will be determined by the marketplace.
Yeah.
So it should reduce the cost of production. And therefore, in theory, reduce the price.
I'm seeing Heidi's mouth move, but I'm not hearing her.
Right. We're still not hearing you, Heidi. No, no, you're not muted, but your microphone's not working either. Oh, she's sending a chat. Right. So what she's saying is if the developer doesn't charge as much, then maybe, since his costs are down, the price would be less. But
There are no guarantees.
there are no guarantees, and it all depends on how hot the market is.
Yeah.
If you can produce something for $1 and sell it for $1.50, you will. If you can sell it for $2, you will.
Right.
I will.
Okay, do others have concerns, questions? Are all of you comfortable with the idea of moving forward with this?
I think so. I am.
I see Jackie nodding. Oh, I see another.
Heidi's nodding. Okay, so
So I don't feel I need a formal motion or anything.
yeah.
If everybody's nodding, then I will proceed as I laid out in that staff report.
Hey Dan, this is Jesse. Are we open to public testimony, or do I need to wait a little bit?
I'll leave that to the chair and the planning commission.
I have no issue with you talking, Jesse. All ideas are pretty open at this point. So
I do have some input if you guys are ready for that.
go ahead.
Okay. My concern is number one, or reducing that lot width, I think is a great step forward. And so the changes you guys are considering, I think, are definitely some great ideas. My concern is that I still am seeing some challenges between the requirements for what you're asking, what the code is asking for right now, and the ability to build those. As I'm seeing it, the code is requiring for the medium density, which is something I'm considering developing in, a minimum lot width of 50 feet and a minimum density of 7 units per acre. And I've been building 50-foot wide lots for a long time, and usually a standard 50 by 100 lot ends up with a density of around 5 units per acre to 4.5 units per acre. And I'm concerned about my ability to build at that minimum lot width and still hit 7 units per acre. I don't think it's mathematically possible. Another thing to consider, and so another thing to consider is that your code also requires 5% for public use area. And so that further reduces the amount of developable area and reduces the density. And as you're looking at some of the examples, none of these are hitting 7 units per acre. And like I'm looking at Willamette Landing, for example, that's 6.2 units per acre. And those are, you got 40-foot lots in there, and you don't have any open space in there. And also you have to have water quality uses up about another 4.5 to 5% of your space. And these examples aren't showing that. So I question the ability to get to 7 units per acre, or to hit the densities that are being required when you've got those lot widths, and those other open space and water quality requirements. And my suggestion would be that I understand what the city, what this planning commission is trying to achieve. You want to keep that feel, that more rural feel. You're not trying to be like City of Portland or Salem and have higher density. I understand that. But you've got some challenges between having that open space requirement and trying to hit the densities you're trying to get to. I think there's going to be some challenges. And I'd love to continue to work with you guys and work these out as we go. I have some recommendations. One of the areas that I would see is I think this open space, this public use area, is making it challenging to get to that density. I think if you're going to have these requirements for, like, if you came to me and said the code was requiring the 50-foot lots, and again, I'm speaking about the medium density, that's kind of the one I'm focusing on. If you required a 50-foot wide lot and all the setbacks you had, and the open space, I would be fine building that, but I would be asking you guys to remove the density requirement. Because I don't think I can hit that 7 units per acre. I'd be more at probably around 4.5 is what my calcs are showing. So I still think there's some areas to work out in the code. I'd love to have a discussion with you guys about that.
So can you hear me now?
Yes.
Yeah.
Oh, good. Okay. So Dan, when we originally were doing the density before, where we started with our code before we've changed it, where it currently is, we were only seeing about 3 houses per acre. 2.5?
Yeah, I would say 3.5 to 4.
3.5 to 4.
What we've seen when you look at the subdivisions in the past 20 years.
Okay. And so we're saying a minimum density now of.
In the low density zone, a minimum of 4.5, and in the medium density, a minimum of 7
Per acre.
per acre.
And Jesse, you don't think we can get 7 with our setbacks? The setbacks you're finding to be an issue?
With that minimum density or the minimum lot width, it's not the setbacks per se. It's that lot width. If you want 7 units per acre and a 50-foot wide lot, you're going to end up with a really shallow lot in order to get that. And that's not something that I would find to be marketable if I were having to deliver like a 70-foot deep lot or something like that. That would be challenging. One area in there that one setback that is challenging that I would present to this planning commission to consider making some modifications to is the side yard the front yard setback. The way the code is written currently, you're considering when you have a lot that's on a corner, the code is written such that considers both lots, both street side yards as front yards, and those are 20-foot setbacks, and so that uses up quite a bit of area there. It's not going to be a total deal breaker, but it does impact theirs, and I would suggest to the planning commission maybe considering having what I call a street side yard setback that's 10 feet instead of 20 feet. That would help you achieve some of those densities. But the real challenge is when you work out, a standard lot, if you're gonna have a 50-foot wide lot, you have to have 90, 95, 100 feet deep lot. If you tried to do something less than that, you won't be able to get a standard home on there. You also have 15-foot rear yard setbacks as well. So you have to consider that as well. The real challenge is getting to a 7 units per acre with a 50-foot wide lot. I just don't think that that's, I can't build a product that would fit on that.
So to get to 7 per acre, how wide do you think we need to be?
That's more appropriate, from my experience, that's more appropriate for like a 40-foot wide lot.
Well, like you said, some of those in Silverton were like 38, 39 in that range.
And I've built, I'm not suggesting this, I've built all the way down to 18-foot wide lots. You can almost reach across the room and touch both walls. That's not what we would be looking for here.
Yeah.
But if you, and I'm not pushing either way. That's for the city to decide. It's just mathematically, it's challenging to build at 7 units per acre at a 50-foot wide lot. I can't get the density you guys are, I can't meet the code is what I'm concerned about.
Right.
Yeah, and I'd have to go back to those lot illustrations that we were looking at back in the winter that unfortunately I'm sitting at a computer that won't open them, to really figure that out. But so it sounds like because going down to only a 50-foot wide lot won't allow the density to be met, then it's either allow a narrower lot or reduce
The density.
the minimum density required to make it achievable.
Right.
So remind me once again, why do we have to have it so dense?
We have we have had, I will say, a target that is incorporated into the Marion County Comprehensive Plan that through all of the residential districts, we should be achieving 5 to 6 units per acre for new residential development.
Now, is that regardless of medium density?
Correct.
That's what we're looking for. Just generally, that's what we should be looking at.
Right, looking at all of the residential zones together. That's what the Marion County Comprehensive Plan sets as a target for cities in the population range that Stayton is in. There's one for smaller towns, there's one for medium-sized towns such as Stayton, and one for larger-sized towns. And I don't remember what those population thresholds are, but for Stayton, the target is 5 to 6 units. And as we just said, we've been getting 3 to 3.5 over the past 20 to 30 years. Go back into the 90s, and we had Mountain Estates with and Oak Ridge Vista up on 28th and Pine that are 1.5 units per.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I've said this before. We're kind of in this funny situation in that nobody's really looking at that target, but they will when the day comes that we have to expand our urban growth boundary. What puts us in the funny situation is that back in the 70s, when we drew our urban growth boundary, we were a little, I guess, optimistic about the growth rates we were going to be seeing, because in theory that was a 20-year supply of land. It's now been 45 years, and my guess is we have another 70 to 90 year supply of residential land in the urban growth boundary. So, do we need to worry about that now? Who knows what the laws will be 70 years from now? Who knows what the world will be like 70 years from now?
Well, people are not stopping moving to Oregon at this point, so.
But again, when the time comes that the city needs to expand its urban growth boundary, the state will be wanting us to show that we have met our density targets, And the
Mhm.
density target that's been in place, at least for 20, 25 years, I'm not quite sure when the county comprehensive plan was written, has called for 5 to 6 units per acre. That is incorporated into our comprehensive plan, our 2013 plan. So that kind of was my basis for coming up with these numbers.
All right. Does anyone else have concerns about densities and lot width? I mean, where's everybody else with this?
I think we just need to make it look good. We need to make it desirable for developers to come develop. We do need, we're in a housing crisis. We need houses. So, but we do want it to keep our feel and our look. So I think we can do that with some of the standards that we have, but I think we should keep moving forward with it and get it to the people. And
Okay. I agree that some of the setbacks, I think some of that needs to be
I think we can,
looked at.
I can write something to deal with that corner lot, side yard, front setback. Um,
You know,
Jesse and I have talked about this in past months. My concern is that where you have two intersecting streets that are not just back-to-back blocks, but you have a row of housing on each street that sits 20 feet back, that corner lot should meet the 20-foot front setback. So you don't have a row of housing that's 20 feet back and then the corner lot sticks out at 10. But if it is truly the side yard for two corner lots, like in, well, here, such as in, come on. Come on, this computer. Oh, well, I guess we're not going to see it. Oh, there we go. Let me get to the plat. I want to go to oh, I'm going the wrong way. Sorry. In Phillips Estates, where you've got here's the plat. So for these corner lots, that makes more sense because these are going to be side yards. But in another situation, that's not going to show it. Where you've got well, I guess here.
we'll leave it in there, yeah.
Yeah, where you've got houses that front on Goldfinch and houses that front on Hummingbird, then I wouldn't want this end house to be at 10 feet when all of the others on Goldfinch are 20 feet back. But I think that's easy. That's an easy enough thing to write to control that side yard front setback on corner lots. We did it with accessory structures a few years ago.
Okay.
All right. So I guess the next thing for you to do is to come back to us with something to get really serious about.
Yep. I will do that. We'll talk about this again. I'll come up with a draft of that side yard setback. I'll come up with I will come up with a recommendation regarding the frontage density dilemma, shall we call it,
Right.
but leave it to you. It'll ultimately be your decision of which of those numbers do we reduce? And
Exactly.
I'll come up with come up with the illustrations for what that means, again, based on those February drawings that we had.
Good.
Okay,
So I guess we will put this on the September agenda and postpone going public and scheduling the public hearings until
Okay,
we've
another month.
got a final product.
Well, it'll be easier then because we'll probably, hopefully, be having some in-person meetings by, hopefully
I'm not
October,
no.
November. Oh,
hold
Lord.
your breath.
You're being way too optimistic.
Yep. Well, I think this is the new way of doing business.
Well, yeah,
Yeah,
well,
I think you're right.
Okay, so I don't believe there's much of anything else on the agenda.
Nope. The only other thing is other business and adjourning.
So does anybody have any other business?
no, you want to give us an update on like Hayden and Taco Bell and
Taco Bell is dormant.
okay,
Hayden Homes Friday afternoon got their letter of substantial completion from the Public Works
great.
Department.
Okay.
And we have been discussing back and forth the logistics of how you submit a Mylar final plat in this day and age.
Okay.
So we are waiting for them to submit everything, the plat, the CC&Rs, the various easements, dedication deeds, etc., one more time by email as scanned executed copies instead of drafts.
Okay.
We will be, once we receive those, we will review them. And once they look good, we'll say, okay, give the Public Works Office a call and make arrangements to drop off the originals. They think there's a courier coming on Thursday, but I don't think, since we haven't gotten that email, and this is the week before a holiday weekend, I don't think that it's going to be happening.
Okay.
But they are ready to submit their final documents and get a plat recorded. And their quote model home that is up there is ready for a final inspection and certificate of occupancy.
All right, cool.
That's really about it. I can tell you, if I haven't said this last month, I can tell you that the 13 acres that Norpac used to own on the north side of Ida Street is under contract.
Cool.
We've had a pre-application meeting, but I think it'll probably be winter before we see a subdivision application. It'll need to be rezoned because it's zoned industrial, because it was owned by the cannery. There were a couple of pre-application meetings in the spring. Maybe somebody will submit something. We'll see.
What about for Pine, the property up on Pine?
That's Jesse.
I'm working on that
that's
one.
Jesse. All right.
Oh.
Okay.
I'm
Dan?
waiting for all this to get settled and then they.
All right. Okay.
All right.
Dan, is anything happening on the 20 acres on Fern Ridge?
No.
Okay.
That is still on hold. The city council held their public hearing on the annexation back, whatever the first Monday in March was, second or third or something, and continued the hearing. And then COVID came along, and because we've had standing room only in the hearing room for all three of those hearings, the city manager is not comfortable doing it remotely and not allowing people to participate. He's concerned that people will want to be in the hearing room.
Right.
So we are waiting, at this point, we are waiting until it's safe to hold an in-person public hearing to continue that hearing.
Okay, thanks, Dan.
So does anybody have anything else they'd like to talk about? Then I will suggest that we adjourn this meeting.
Okay, thanks. Thanks, Rob.
All right.
Thanks,
Thank
everybody.
you.
All right.
All right. We are
Bye.
adjourned
Thank you.
at 7:40. And I'm going to end the meeting.
Whoops.